you need to leave your food, like finish it before you come in.
We could have food police at the hall and say, here, here's
Yeah.
just like you can hire TSA or whatever. Yeah.
Since they're up there, we'll
Okay, I'm already running over. Sorry, I'm going to move on because I'm already past my time. I don't want to get in trouble. By the big dog back there, big boss. All right, I also want to say, as y'all haven't heard yet, we are changing our church database. Y'all may not even know what that is. We have Fellowship 1, but we've gotten rid of that, and we're going to CCB, which is Community Church Builders or something. So, but the cool thing about it is when we schedule y'all for weekly like lessons, serving, it's in a whole different thing called Planning Center. Now all of it's going to be one, CCB. And what's cool about it is once your profile gets put in, you'll be able to open it up and see all the volunteers that are in your area. The sub list will be there, and when you ask somebody to sub for you and they say yes, they get off the list, so not everybody's asking the same people all the time. Touching on that, I want to challenge everybody. Kelly J had a great idea, and I think she's already had her high ropes try this. When you do get your small group and you get to know their parents or meet their parents or just email and ask, would one of you or two of you be willing to be my sub when I'm out? Then you could have one parent or two that you know when you're going to be out, you're asking that one person, and it's not Jane who gets asked by a Sparrows leader one week or 3 different people one week, and they just said yes and served, and then the next week everyone's emailing, they don't know that person just served. So if you had your parent that you knew you were going to call when you're out, that would be awesome. Now it may be an ideal and it may not work, but if you would be willing to ask your small group kid parents if they'd be willing to be your sub, that might be easier because they're not all being called.
Do we do the 10-page background
No,
thing anymore?
no.
We don't?
No, we do a 1-page, and so if you do have a parent that says, yes, I will be yours, and it's Jane Smith, you can ask us. I think Jane might need a background thing. We'll email it and get it all processed. Yes, good question. That's what I was going to say next. So it will be changing by promotion day, this new CCB, but it's a lot similar to where we'll be scheduling y'all. The lessons will be attached. There'll be links. There'll be things y'all can click on and share and see together, which will be really, really cool. You'll see who's serving on different teams, and it's going to be awesome. A lot of y'all may not know about our huddle time that happens at 8:45 on Sunday mornings. That's a way to help you be on time when you serve, no matter if you serve at the 9:30 service or the 11:15 service. We would love for y'all to come and fellowship, and we connect and we pray together and share God stories that are happening in your rooms or in your small groups. I know that's early, but we really are using that, and Melissa will touch on that more as well. Just a couple more things. Room leaders, you're the one at the door, the face who's there to welcome the kids, to greet them, and we want to encourage y'all to not be hesitant if there's a child clinging to their mom, to open the door and get on their level and grab their hand and bring them in. And don't wait if they look hesitant to just stand behind the door and think, okay, they don't want to come in yet, I'm just going to wait here till the parent. Sometimes the parents are wanting you to help that transition. So really, y'all's job is so important at the door, to be the face, to be at the door. A lot of times there's brand new parents bringing their child to the door, and we want you to be that face that's there and ready, and to open the door and get on their level and meet them and say their name and bring them into their small group leader. Go ahead and do that for the parent, like help them in that transition. That was one little reminder we were talking about. Also, a lot of y'all do, you want to connect to the parents, but most of the time we're really just trying to get to know the kids. And you have that 1 hour with the kids. And we want to help y'all and find ways for y'all to truly connect with the parents more of your small group kids. And one way that we found at the conference that we went to as a staff is a free app that you can install. It's called Lead Small. And I know Jenna found it online a little. This is what it looks like. Lead Small is free. You can install it. You can actually, once you download it, or whatever you call it, install it, you put your profile in. I'm already picturing Kelly Watson. I don't know why. Put her profile pic in it. And Then you can add your members, they call it, so your kids, and it has the fun facts, just like the page we're asking y'all to fill out. You can have your kids tell you what if their pet, what their favorite candy is or whatever, and you put all your members in there, and then their parents' email address, which you should have on your list, and you can send them weekly things like, hope you're coming Sunday, we're talking about patience, Jesus or whatever. There's fun ways that you can connect with the parents, and you can stay connected with your kids through this app. There's a lot, and there's fun, like inspirational quotes in it. There's devos that go along with your lesson on Sunday. So it's really awesome, and it's something free. And then there's another one that I'm going to be trying to find out more about, I've been using, but that has a really cool like sport, those stat cards, like when your child plays sports and it tells their height. Well, y'all won't want to do your height and weight. It's not that. But it's a cool like sport card. I don't know what that term is. Come on, Larry McCraw, you know.
Like a baseball card.
Baseball card. There's one that y'all can do about yourself for fun with your email and your cell phone, and you can send it to the parent and say, here, I'm your child's small group leader this year. If you need to contact me, text me at this, or here's my email, here's my birthday, what I love about your kids, or whatever. It's really cool, and I think it's a quick way for the parents to say, oh, Kelly, whoever, I keep picking on Kelly. Jonathan, he's my child's small group leader. That's so cool, and he likes giraffes. And he's gone to Africa before. I don't know. So I think it'll be really neat, and I'm going to figure that out more, but y'all can do the least for now. So that's a great way to connect with the parents. You can Facebook friend some of the parents if you do that, or Twitter, or tweet, or Instagram. I don't do all that stuff. I know we're supposed to, but I don't. And when you do meet the parents, I want to stress, just say something positive about their child. Find something positive about each of those children. Say something positive about them as parents, that they're doing a great job, or you've been there before, or whatever it is. And then when you're with your small group of kids, say something positive about their parents. We want to honor their parents, and we want their parents to win, because you are truly making an impact on these kids. You have at least 52 weeks, give or take, if you're there every Sunday. I'm just kidding. 52 weeks with these kids, which is awesome. They need to see y'all every Sunday, and it's awesome. But the parents have 3,600 hours with them, and they are the most important influence. They will be the greatest influence. So we want the parents to win, and we want to help them and connect with them and give them the tools and resources that they need to help them lead their children spiritually. So I think that's about all I was going to say. And I just want to thank y'all, every single one of y'all, volunteers. It is a sacrifice, but it's also a blessing, and we want to continue to fill y'all up and encourage y'all, and that's why Melissa's coming up next.
All right, now we got the details. All right, you may have noticed that our theme for the night is not normal, and that's why we even have your little blue, some of you have blue flowers, y'all are the normal people, and then we have our not normal one right there, right here. But some of you guys were able to join us. We hosted a children's ministry conference back in February at the church, and a lot of you guys got to come, but they did a lot of the conference around the Not Normal book, and we loved it so much that we wanted to do our training around it for tonight. But some of you may be sitting out there thinking, well, I don't know if I want to be not normal. I kind of like being normal. So I want to read to you. After I read this definition, you'll want to be not normal. So the way they define it in the book, it says normal means doing what's expected, what everyone else does. And that doesn't apply to you guys. You've signed up to do the unexpected, the not normal thing. You are a volunteer. You have chosen to do this crazy thing of helping someone else for free. And that is so true. You guys, I feel like every single person in here is not normal, because you have signed up to come and invest in babies and preschoolers and elementary kids. And really, I just wanted to start off tonight by saying thank you for that, because what I feel like God has called our staff to do, we could not do by ourselves. We could not minister to all the kids that God is bringing through the doors of Mountaintop. And we need you guys to come and to love kids and to love their parents. And so thank you for doing that and for stepping up. And just so grateful for y'all, and really, truly feel blessed to get to serve alongside you guys on Sunday mornings. So for the next, I'm going to try to do it in 15 minutes. I want us to talk about what the book calls quirks of not normal volunteers. So we're going to go ahead and dive quickly in. The first quirk is that not normal volunteers, they believe the smallest things we do can have the biggest results. And I see that a lot of times. I see that displayed in you guys. But small things may be a hug that you give to a child at the door, or an encouraging word you speak to one of the kids that come in your class, or just hugging that little preschooler or smiling at them, or sending the cards. I know that we have been encouraging you guys to send cards at the end of service to just 1 or 2 kids in your group. And I just want to say as a parent how much that means to my kids. My kids used to not really care what came in the mail because it was usually just stuff for me and Sean, usually bills to pay. But now they have started getting cards from some of you out here. And so every time I go to the mailbox, they're like, "Mom, did I get anything?" So I love to see their excitement, but also I think I love it more than my kids because it's a reminder to me that I have people out there partnering with me, helping me raise my kids to love Jesus and for them to become like him. And that's what you guys are. Y'all are helping families be another voice in those kids' lives. And so the small things mean something. And it's not just me as a parent. I've actually had several moms, but one particular, she has 3 girls, and her oldest one is really, really shy and did not like to go in her class, or just was nervous about it. But this past year, her small group leader would write her, I think, weekly, and I'm not even asking y'all to write weekly, but the small group leader loves her kids, and that's amazing. But this girl was so excited to develop that relationship with her small group that the mom said she was waking her up out of bed saying, "Come on, we got to get to church," and just loved it. She said that was just not normal for her oldest to be asking that and getting here. So just know that the small things you guys do, and it doesn't have to be the cards. I do truly mean it could be a hug or a smile or a text, like Amy said, to the parent. But God's going to take those small things and he's going to multiply them for big results for him. So just remember that when you're serving, the small things do matter. Quirk number 2 is normal volunteers own, they don't rent. And if you were at the conference, you heard a lot about that. They did a whole session on that. And I like to use the example. They gave a few examples in the book, but mine comes from Sean. He doesn't travel very often, but I remember one story. He told me that he rented a car, and I think he even has his boss in the car, but apparently they were going to see what the car could do, and I think they were going and doing donuts in a parking lot and like seeing how fast they could get up this hill. Anyway, when we rent things, we don't really care about how we treat them. You know, if you have a car that you own, you're probably going to keep it clean most of the time. But you'll get the oil change. You'll just take better care of it. And in the book, it also gave the example of renting and owning, like an apartment versus a house. And, you know, when you're renting an apartment or a house, you're not necessarily looking on Pinterest to see your next project that you're going to do. But maybe if you're owning it, you want to make it your own. You want to make it great. So what does that mean for us, for children's ministry volunteers? I think when we are a renter in children's ministry, we're going to show up. We might be late, but we'll be there. We'll do our lesson with our kids. We'll leave. But we may not necessarily think about our kids or church with our kids the rest of the week. You're kind of like clocking in, clocking out, and you're doing a good job. For a nursery volunteer, you may be there and you're taking care of the kids, you're making sure they're fed, diapers changed, but maybe you're not trying to connect with the parents, or maybe you're not trying to pray over your kids. For the older ones, like I said, you may show up and you might do the lesson and leave. But I believe if you're an owner, you're going to show up on time. You're going to have your lesson read. You're going to know what you're teaching your kids. You're going to have prayed for your kids during the week. You're excited to be there. You're doing the small things that we were talking about earlier. You're looking for ways that God wants to use you in that hour that you're here. And then you're writing those notes when you leave because you want to connect with your kids. You're looking for ways to connect with their parents. So that's what I think it looks like. And my prayer is that all of us in here can be owners in this ministry because I know God has big things for all of us to do. And there's so many kids coming through these doors. And I just want so badly for them all to connect with their Heavenly Father and just for all of them to know how much they're loved by Him. So anyway, not normal volunteers, they own, not rent. Third one, it's not about me, it's not about you, it's about how we do this together. This was one that when I read this chapter, I felt just the most convicted about, because I don't want anybody in here to feel like they show up on a Sunday morning and do their job and leave and that's it. And that was the reason really when Amy was talking about huddle time, I came to our team and I said, you know what, I think we actually did huddle time a couple of years ago for those of you who were here and maybe came. I was like, I really think we need to start that time back. And the reason that I thought that we needed to do that is because I want you guys to be able to be next to each other and say, you know what, I had a crappy Sunday. And I don't know if I'm supposed to use that word now. But you know what, I don't feel like, my kids are listening to me. I don't know what's going on. And just for someone to be like, you know what, that was kind of me last week, but then a parent came to me and said their kid was saying the memory verse at home. Or maybe you're in the nursery and you had a baby that screamed the entire hour. And you're like, oh my gosh, is it worth me getting up and coming and holding this baby that is going to cry for an entire hour? But then you see somebody beside you say, you know what, that was me. But then I found out their parent went to church for the first time and got to your sermon. So it's that time for us to be able to just share God's stories, what's going on in your room. And so that was part of huddle time. And again, also, I just wanted to be, I know Sundays can be so crazy. And sometimes by the time you get here, especially if you're parents and you're getting your kids here too, that by the time you get here, you might just want to pull your hair out and you're like, oh my gosh, now I have to serve with kids for an hour. So I wanted to provide a time where it's just like, okay, let's take a deep breath. Let's remember why God has me here. Maybe it is my job this hour is to say that encouraging word to that kid, or to give that kid a hug, or to write that kid a card, or to pray for that kid who just lost their pet. So it just gives us a chance to do that. So I encourage you guys to come to huddle time. It's at 8:45 on Sunday mornings, and I know it's hard to get here. And it may be that you only make it once a month or twice a year, but if you can make it, I would strongly encourage you to try to make it. The other thing is I wanted to provide just time for us to hang out. We tried to provide a little bit of fun for you guys at the beginning of today, just for y'all to get to know some of the people that you're serving with, or and you just may not have known before tonight. But we're going to do 2 events, just try to do 2 events a year. And our first one is August 30th, so you can mark your calendars. From 5 to 7, we're going to hang out at Homewood Park for your whole family. Just bring your whole family, and we're just going to hang out and get to know each other and just have a good time. Again, this idea of team is so important to me, that we feel like a team. And I was thinking about this while I was preparing for tonight, and for those of you that don't know, I played soccer growing up. And yes, one of my favorite team moments, I played at Sanford, and we were playing a game, and if we won this game, then we were going to go to our conference tournament. And it was kind of rare because we were young. I mean, I was on the first team that Sanford had. And all my teammates knew what we needed to do to win this game. And we worked really hard, and I'm proud to say we pulled out the victory. And I remember everybody piling on the middle of the field. But what I loved about it was that everybody knew what our goal was, and everybody had different gifts that they played. We had defenders, forwards, midfielders, and we all worked together to try to get that victory. And I think about that, and I'm like, that team has no eternal value, but this team here has eternal value. And each of you have different gifts and talents that you bring. Some of you are amazing with our babies, and some of you are like, if I had to work with a baby, I think I might pull my hair out. But then we have our awesome ones that work with our 4th and 5th graders, and those of you who work with babies are like, I could never corral a rowdy boy. But just we all have different gifts, and we're all helping them move along in introducing them to Jesus at their level. And I just think it's awesome, and I want y'all to feel that as a team. So we're just going to be really working on that, and I hope that you'll take the time to get to know the people that you serve with and find out what's going on in their lives, and how many kids they have and pets, and just that we can encourage and pray for each other too. And so that's my hope and goal and vision. And I'm going to back up because I got so excited earlier. And I want to talk about, I was talking about the small things earlier and just what we can do. And I know some of you out there were probably thinking, okay, Melissa's asking me to be here early and serve with my kids, and she wants me to do these other small things too. And you might be thinking, oh my gosh, how much time is she expecting me to commit to this volunteer position? Because I work and I'm a mom and I'm a student. And I want to read to you, we believe that it might take about 2 hours of your week. I just want to read this from this article that the authors of this book wrote. It says, we recently came across an article about the 6 secrets you can learn from the happiest people on the planet. People who get the most out of their serving serve an average of 2 hours a week, every week. They consider helping others to be high on their list of what makes them feel fulfilled. They like being part of something bigger than their own lives, so they choose to show up and give back, making somebody else's life better. And I have somebody that I feel like shows this, and I've asked her to come up, one of our awesome, not normal chickadee volunteers. And so I've asked Cece to come up, and as she's coming up, I met Cece actually after the conference in February. I knew that she served in our nursery area, but I really wasn't sure where, and I was like, I need to get to know her. And so we went to lunch, and I just want you to hear kind of some of our conversation that we had at lunch. So tell everyone, Miss Cece, where you currently serve. And this is very brave of her. She doesn't like getting up in front of people, and she's conquering a fear. So.
I'm in the chickadees room, and so when they first come in, they're about 1 year old, just learning to walk, getting steady on their feet, and now they're about to move up, so they're all turning 2 and running around like crazy.
Yes. And how long have you served in there?
Right at 2 years.
Okay. And you started as every other week.
Right, for about 1.5 years, I was every other week, and then since the conference, I've been every week.
And tell us so you went from every other week to every week. How has that changed your serving experience with the kids?
Yeah, well, the conference is what made me change my mind, kind of guilt tripped me a little bit. Renting versus owning, and so it's definitely changed because I'm able to come along with the kids more. Mm-hmm. Seeing them twice a month, I don't really know what's going on with them. I don't really know whose parents is which child. Mm-hmm. Now that I'm able to be there every week, I know, as soon as the parent shows up, which kid is theirs. I'm able to know the child's personality more. Mm-hmm. And I know when we first talked before I started maybe working every Sunday, I wanted a different age group, which, I'm embarrassed about that. But I was like, can I go to an older group so that I can connect with more? But when I started working every Sunday, I realized I just didn't allow myself to connect with them. Now that I have every Sunday and I connect with them, I want to move up with these that I have now. I don't want anybody else's kids, I want mine.
Yep.
So that's been awesome. And just to be able to connect with the parents better, just be a face there that's every Sunday, not randomly twice a month.
Right. And it's really, this is a funny story, and it is a testimony to Cece, but I actually had to be in there for a second this morning. And so the first kid walks in, and she's just looking at me like, who in the world are you in my classroom? I don't know you. And so I thought I did a great job. I'm like, oh, come on in. And she didn't cry, so it was good. Then the next one came in, all out, fit on the floor, like, who are you in my classroom? And then Cece walks in, and she's like, I'm like, I hate you. Not really. But it is a testimony of just that consistency. The kids are looking for that, and so just so awesome. And thank you for stepping up every week. And the kids love you, and thank you. So everybody give her a hand. It is awesome to walk around, and this is totally not part of it, but to watch y'all in action is just amazing, and to watch the kids. I love watching the kids run up to y'all and just like, they haven't seen you all week, and they're just sitting in your laps and running up to you, so y'all are awesome. Okay, we're moving along. Quirk number 4, not normal volunteers trust, honor, and follow the leader in charge of the area where you serve. I do feel like I have a pretty awesome staff that I get to work with, but we're not asking you, I'm not saying this is to like come and like bow down to us. What I am saying is we really truly appreciate y'all's prayers and support and cheerleading for us, because we do need it. We pray weekly that God, please help us to follow your vision for this ministry. And so we just need your support in that, and if, you need help, we're here. But really that's all I want to say about that. It's just know that we appreciate your prayers, your support, and your cheerleading for us. All right, quirk number 5, not normal volunteers invite others to be a part of the team. I hope that you guys enjoy what you do on Sunday morning and just love it, and want to invite others to be a part of it. And I mean that, I know I said it kind of jokingly, but I mean it seriously. I hope that what you do on Sunday morning is, I know not every Sunday is probably like, this was the best thing ever. I know that you know, if we're realistic, you're going to have those Sundays of the crying baby for an hour. But I do hope, all in all, that you see that God is using you in the class where you're serving, and that you are inviting other people along. I want to say that right now we have about 8-ish holes still of volunteers, and would appreciate first your prayers to find those people. I am praying daily, hourly, that by August 16th, the promotion, that we find those people, because I don't want a kid to walk in here on promotion Sunday and not have a small group leader. And so if you know of anyone, I would love to meet with them and talk to them about our vision and what we do, because I want to find the right people who love the kids and are going to commit to them for at least a year. Because people ask me sometimes, why don't you just make the parents serve? Well, because I want people who are passionate about the kids and love them and are going to invest in them and be the not normal people that we are looking for. All right, last one, quirk number 6, dream big and understand reality. So we live in a world where we can get things like this. One of my favorite things is how I can get directions and get somewhere, and it talks to me too. That's amazing. And last night it was amazing because I didn't want to really cook dinner, so I could make my mac and cheese, Bob Evans mac and cheese, which is really good, by the way, in the microwave for like 3 minutes, and but sometimes I think we carry that mentality over into our serving experience, and we think everything is going to be awesome, my kids are going to get saved quickly and all baptized this year, and they're going to listen to me every Sunday, and they're just going to learn their memory verse the first day. Anyway, we carry that mentality in, and I want to remind you guys that it is a process. Just like when we plant a seed and we can't see it in the dirt for a while, we just have to trust that something's happening down there. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't do anything with it. We still keep tending to it and, loving on it. But what I want just y'all to hear is, you might not always see the results happening in your kids. And that's okay, because God didn't design kids, to instantly become a Christian. It's a process, and I want to read this spoke to me about that. Wait for it. Building faith in the next generation takes time. There aren't going to be immediate results. Learning, processing, and trusting God is going to take a lifetime for each child to grow through, just like it did for us. We're going to have to be patient. So just remember that the Sundays you leave and you're thinking in your head, did anything happen spiritually today in any of my children? Know that God's working. Those little things that we talked about in the beginning, He's going to keep taking those little things that y'all are doing, and He's going to multiply them like only He can to bring about results that only He can. So just remember, that is something I know I personally love to be like, I like to see the results, but I'm having to remind myself to just trust in the process, trust in the process, trust in the process. and I know we're running out of time, but this was a cool story in here that I want to read. It's a preschool small group leader, and she loved what she did. She loved spending time with her kids, but lately she felt like nothing was happening. Their attention wandered. Each had their own stories to tell. Preschool leaders, can you relate? Some had trouble sitting, others wanted to play, a few missed mom and dad. Couple that with simple activities, quick prayers, and bite-sized content, and it's easy to understand how the small group leader began to confuse simple with insignificant. An email changed her perspective. It was from one of the moms in her group. Dear Miss Kiki, I just had to tell you how much of an impact you are having on our daughter. We feel like you are a part of our family. You don't know this, but when Ellery is at home playing, she pretends to be you. She carefully lines up her dolls and stuffed animals all around her and then places a pencil behind her right ear as she starts to talk to them. She welcomes each one with a great big smile, opens her little Bible and tells them a story, prays for each one by name, passes out a little snack in a Dixie cup, hugs them goodbye before they leave, just like you. We want you to know that our family appreciates you more than we can ever say. Thank you for investing in our daughter, Mr. and Mrs. Walder. So just know, I know that y'all might not always get the letter from the parent, but know that you are. I hear stories, and I'm going to try to do better of telling you guys, just your kids are going home saying memory verses. They are probably going home pretending like they're you. And just remember that even though, well, I want to say this, God sees everything that you do. He sees the diapers that you're changing and the younger ones and the noses that you're wiping. And he sees the hugs that you're giving and the words and the cards that you're sending. And I'm going to end with this. One day God promises that you'll really be able to see just how worth it everything was. You are not ever going to be sorry that you showed up and invested as a volunteer. You will see whose lives were changed on your watch, and you'll get a glimpse of the ripple effect that happened in people's lives as a result of how you lived yours. And I think it's so cool. I get chill bumps just thinking a kid that you might be pouring into might later be sitting in your seat, and they're pouring into somebody, and they're pouring into somebody. And how awesome, I get chill bumps, in heaven that we are going to get to see that. And just all the things that y'all got to do and how that made a difference. And I stand up here tonight and I'm just excited. I love New Starts and that we're promoting in 3 weeks, and there's this many people that are committed to loving kids and trying to partner with their parents and encourage them is just awesome. And I just want to thank you guys, end with thanking you, just like I did at the beginning. You truly are heroes to me, and I just love serving with you guys on Sunday morning and just seeing you in action. And I know we don't have really any time. So I'm going to pray for us. We were going to pray together at our table, but I just want to pray for us because they're probably waiting on us for dinner. I told them that we would be the longest group.